You're watching TVC Breakfast. Nigeria comes second behind India globally in having the highest number of open defecation, and it ranks first in Africa.
Efforts geared towards ending open defecation by the year 2025 are in progress, but a lot more needs to be done. TVC's Kemi Balogun reports that this was part of concerns raised during the water sector media workshop held in Abuja recently.
Nigeria is at the top of the ladder of countries with the highest number of open defecation. The 2018 National Outcome Routine Mapping Report has it that 47 million Nigerians defecate in the open, while the Routine Mapping Report has it that 47 million Nigerians defecate in the open, while the country loses 455 billion naira annually due to poor sanitation. A national roadmap towards ending open defecation by the year 2025 was developed and launched in 2016, but very little progress has been achieved since then. The Minister of Water Resources, Suleiman Adamu, highlights some of these challenges.
Progress has been achieved in the implementation of the roadmap, with only 10 local government areas across the country so far certified as open defecation free, according to the National ODF protocol. We are, however, determined to scale up the ODF campaign within the next few weeks. I therefore seek for your strong partnership in this important endeavor.
The strides made by the government on ensuring that there is an improved national access to potable water supply for water, sanitation, hygiene and irrigation hopes to lessen this burden.
Water and sanitation are closely linked to their very core, and together they constitute one of the top drivers of the nation's development. And because of the close link between water and sanitation, they have an impact on the human health through downstream pollution in particular, and are presently a focus of the Sustainable Development Goals, especially in countries which lack access to water, to clean water and proper sanitation. A typical illustration of this is Nigeria.
Essentially, there is a strong drive to significantly improve on the national access to potable water supply, with the objective of achieving 100% access by the year 2030, when the population of Nigeria is estimated to grow to about 257 million, as encapsulated in the Sustainable Development Goals target.
Interventions by UNICEF, the European Union, UK and the Nigerian government on practical steps for water, sanitation and hygiene in communities can go a long way towards ending Nigeria's open defecation problem by the year 2025. Kemi Balogun, TVC News, Abuja.
An environmental activist, HAMZAT Lawal, joins me now via Skype. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast. Now, 48 million Nigerians practice open defecation, and if care is not taking, Nigeria is set to overtake India on the rankings. Now, how much of a worry is this for you as an environmental activist?
Well, thank you for having me. Well, this is a national emergency in Nigeria, and we should be worried. We should be worried because if people cannot have access to a water and toilet facility, what this tells you is people cannot even focus on other development index in the country. And so for me, I believe that if we cannot tackle this, then we can move forward as a country where over 60 million people cannot access toilet facilities.
But the government has been making efforts, according to the reports we just listened to. Is there something the government is not doing right?
I think we need to consolidate on the efforts, and this is not the sole role of government alone. As much as government needs to create policies and put in place a regulatory framework, I believe that we have an opportunity here. I think we must not shy away from the fact that this is shit business. We need to call it what it is. How can we ensure that the private sector plays a key role? If you look at our major cities today, do we have mobile toilets where citizens can access this mobile toilet? But most importantly, someone has to pay the price. So I think we need to ensure that we invest hugely creating an enabling environment, bringing private sector, and put a price on ensuring that citizens can actually use public toilets. And in our households and houses and public institutions, we must ensure that we provide these basic amenities because it is an important part of human survival.
Now, what are the health implications of open defecation? Perhaps most Nigerians do not really understand that aspect.
Well, today we're experiencing cholera outbreak in most rural communities because in some communities where they defecate openly is the place where they have stream, and this stream would now go to the river bank and people would drink this water and use it for household to cook food. So and today that's why we're experiencing cholera outbreak, and from cholera outbreak we're losing children. We're losing kids below 5 years. Today, Nigeria is tackling infant mortality. And if we don't deal with open defecation, particularly at the grassroots in rural communities, then we would keep losing life and value for money.
Now, the population of Nigeria is projected rather to grow to up to over 200 million. How quickly should we tackle this in? We have a target, a 2025 target.
I think that we need to decentralize. It cannot be from the center. And what I mean is federal government must not lead on this effort. What are our local institutions doing? What are our state government doing? Most importantly, how much is government budgeting, both at local, state, and national level? Well, most importantly, how much these budgets are being released, and how are civil society able to track effective use of public resources? I believe that if we can effectively ensure that public resources are put to public use, then we would ensure that every citizen have access to toilet facilities. And one key indication is ensuring that we use data, using data to inform policy and decision making. Over 230 million citizens in 2030, and Nigeria is working to achieve this Sustainable Development Goal. This is a key indication for us to ensure that open data plays a key role to ensuring we end open defecation, not just in Nigeria, but Africa at large.
HAMZAT Lawal, environmental activist, thank you for your time on TVC Breakfast.
The target to end open defecation by the year 2025. Talk to us, how feasible will that be considering the realities on ground right now in the country?
Well, thank you for having me. This is quite an ambitious target because if Nigeria is working to achieve the Sustainable Development Goal in Nigeria and Africa at large, we must ensure that we tackle open defecation because this also have a huge economic impact on how Nigeria is losing revenue and how we're losing life in the country.
So you're not sure that Nigeria will be able to meet this target?
Well, I am optimistic that it is possible. It is possible if we would invest hugely, particularly around human capacity development index, invest in infrastructural development, and ensure that we have a regulatory framework, policy and regulatory framework, where we would ensure that every household and every public institution have toilet facilities. But most importantly, how can we mobilize the private sector? Because, well, let's call it what it is. This is shit business, and in shit business, there's a lot of profit to be made. You know, everyone has to go. So how can we ensure we mobilize private sector, provide incentive to ensure investment, and guarantee money for investment so that we can have public and mobile toilets where people can actually pay a price to use public facility and ensure that their health is guaranteed.
All right, so the feasibility is still conditional. But talk to us about what the missing link really is. How did it get this bad?
Well, it got this bad because before now we did not see value for ensuring that Nigeria is open defecation free. But because also it is very centralized. Today we're not looking at what our local authorities and state authorities doing. We are all focused on what the national government is doing at the center here at Abuja, which is not so in other climes. I believe that if our state and local authorities play a major role, and mind you, over 70, 80 billion people do not have access to toilets. These people are not centered in the urban area. Even if the urban area also have its own peculiar challenges, most people are in the rural grassroots communities. So how can we ensure that, you know, governments are able to educate them and make them see value for ensuring that every household have toilet facilities and every public facilities are provided with toilets?
All right, if this trend sustains, talk to us about the consequences on the environment and even the people themselves.
Well, today we're experiencing outbreak of cholera in major communities because the same stream that they use to get water for household and cook their food is where, they defecate in. And we've seen a lot of outbreak where there's now increase in infant mortality, there's that risk. And today people break the bank to access public health care services because of the increase of the fact that people are openly defecating and getting diseases from this. But I believe that there's a huge potential and opportunity here where we can increase human development index, but most importantly, where we can provide alternative. Mind you, this can actually create jobs for teeming young unemployed people because there's an entrepreneurship potential that is yet untapped.
All right, HAMZAT Lawal, thank you very much for talking to us on TVC Breakfast.